my name down wrong. People make a lot of mistakes. As long as they admit it, it's okay.
I'm sorry. But yeah, this is Tara with the Ark of Oregon. I'm really sorry I didn't call you back yesterday. I had a family emergency and had to leave early.
You know what's really cool about the fact that you said that? You did that properly. You didn't spend 20 minutes going off about something that doesn't help me or affect me. And also, you were honest right from the get-go. Thank you for that.
I try to be. So I'm still looking around for resources that might be able to help you.
The thing is that every service that I go to, they're all referral services that refer me to places that are just referral services.
So the first one that I'm going to ask you about, if you've talked to, have you talked to Tillamook Family Counseling Center?
Yes, ma'am. Matter of fact, they're one of the places that I need to turn in. I've been to every service here, but go ahead. Next one.
And the other one is COAST, COAAST.
I've never heard of them. That's a service I probably have not gone to.
So they are.
All right, ma'am, I want you to stop and put this in perspective real quick. I've made at least 2,000 calls just since I've been to Oregon. Each one of them sending me to somebody else. I don't have the ability to do this, ma'am. It doesn't get me anywhere because of my communication disabilities. People don't take the risks to heart, and then I'm still out here every day taking this abuse.
I'm very sorry. What is the best way that I can help you?
Well, ma'am, I literally can't take care of myself. I can't do any of the paperwork for myself. I am physically disabled as well. I need someone to help advocate for me. I can't just keep taking this. For the last 7 years, people have taken advantage of the fact that I'm autistic as an excuse to harm me everywhere that I go and slander my name. And slander does result in harm. It does result in people physically assaulting and a lot of things like that. I have to be able to show that. I have the evidence of all of it. I've gone to everywhere that I'm told to go, and everybody tells me it's not their job and sends me on to somewhere else. That's how I ended up with talking to the Ark in Nebraska. But they do something different than you guys do. They were just a clothing store.
Yeah, some of the different chapters of the Ark are do different things. So I'm afraid that we don't have a ton of presence in the Tillamook area. The group that I think would be best able to help you is COAST, which is also known as Sammy's Place. They do specifically advocacy for people. They help people advocate for themselves. They also do housing support, and they're very good at
Ma'am, that's all any of these services do. That's literally all any of these services do. I am in a severe state of emergency here, and nobody takes it seriously. And since nobody takes it seriously, I have to continue taking the abuse. Because I'm homeless, the police are just going to treat me like I'm a drug addict, and hospitals just treat me like I'm a drug addict. And all these services do is tell me to call 911 if there's an emergency, or that I have to do it myself. All they can do is housing, or send me to other numbers. Oh, we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't do that, we don't do that. And that's the problem with being an at-risk and disabled adult out here, is that nobody is catching on to what a serious situation this is, and that the longer I'm out here, the more likely I am to kill myself or to be killed by somebody else. This is hell. Nobody should have to go through this.
I agree. I agree. I really wish that I were able to personally help. Like I said, we don't have, the Arc of Oregon doesn't have a presence in the Tillamook area.
Yeah, that's why their website has an address but not a phone number, because if they're not there, there's no phone number to give, right? Yeah, I looked them up too.
I'm afraid that our local chapter in Tillamook has stopped communicating with us. I'm not entirely sure why. We've been trying to get a hold of them for a variety of reasons, and they're just not responding to us. So I'm not sure how to get a hold of them, which is why I would suggest Coast or Sammy's Place. Would it help you if I reached out to them and talked to them about your situation and see if they have someone who can help you?
That could. A lot of the part about that is that a lot of times if people end up talking for me, they might miss something or might have taken something wrong, and also there's no proof that it was done, so then I get called a liar no matter what. But I'm okay with you doing that, just because I absolutely do need the help. One of the things that has been pushed on me a lot is the housing thing. I get the housing thing out of the way, but the thing is, I go to everybody about mandated reporting. That's what all of this started off as, me going to services because I needed mandated reporters to do their job. People were taking advantage of me for my disability money in 2016, or in 2017, sorry. And people were taking advantage of my disabilities to make me a target. And that just isn't okay. The fact that I still can't see my loved ones to this day is horrible, and that's social isolation. But I also have taken a lot of physical abuse, a lot of financial abuse. I literally can't handle this. I get run over and railroaded everywhere I go, no matter what. Homeless males don't matter to anybody. It doesn't matter what their disability is, and that's why somebody needs to try picking it up. But even when I was able to get into housing finally, they didn't do anything to help me stop the abuse. And that's the thing about being autistic that sucks, is people just pretend that we're retarded.
Yeah, I understand. Like the homelessness system doesn't talk to the disability systems enough, and they don't understand it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a call right now, or maybe email. I'm not sure what the best, I'm going to figure out what the best way to contact them is.
Ma'am, all of my, I want to impress upon you how important this is, that I spend all of my money every month maintaining a vehicle to run around to services that aren't helping. I've spent all of my money doing that, and all of these services are making money by having me go to them. They're having me do therapy services. They're mandated reporters, and I am disabled, and they're neglecting their duties as mandated reporters. That is what all of this issue has been since day one. I was being harmed in Colorado over something that did not happen in Virginia. Wasn't my fault and wasn't a choice. It just is one of those things. And because people didn't understand autism and didn't understand having a medical emergency, here's the thing. I had a broken phone and a broken car, and I was severely dehydrated, and I was treated like I was a stalker. And that's how all this started. And that resulted in a few people being dead. And I've been trying to turn this in, and I get treated like I'm crazy. This would drive anybody crazy. And I'm trying to talk as calmly and concisely as I can, because if I don't, people often, as soon as I start talking faster, they start talking over me or getting. And thank you for not doing that, by the way.
Of course. I understand what it's like to be talked over. I don't like it any more than you do.
Well, for me, it results in dead people when people don't listen, and that's just not something that's easy to explain. Because then people sometimes they ask, "Well, does that mean you're killing people?" No, I'm not. But because I'm out here, I see too much.
Yeah.
You know, people also, because I'm a really nice guy, I'm really a lot more open than most people would expect. People are way more open with me than they are with people will tell me their deepest, darkest secrets within 30 minutes of meeting me, sometimes within 5 minutes. And, you know, then they're not understanding of what I'm going through because they're busy telling me all their deepest, darkest secrets. And I have been instructed to record at all points in time for my safety. And I do try to do that as much as I can. But people don't like being recorded. And they don't, especially when they tell me all their deepest, darkest secrets, you know. Natalie Bollinger's dead because people didn't want to listen to me. Mandated reporters didn't want to listen. And that's why I need somebody who understands how we're talked over, why we're talked over, and what the roadblocks are that we face. Because when I say them, I get treated like I'm making them up. And it's pretty universal for us. It's not something that every autistic person out there is hallucinating. It's not a mass hallucination that is possessed and owned by autistic people. I don't get how people believe that, you know, we're some sort of a hive mind.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think that best bet for finding someone who understands and has the ability to help you where you are is going to be Coast.
Well, one of the things is where I am, I'm not likely to get help because of how long I've been here and because I've been to all the services and I'm trying to turn them all in. With Coast, I'm totally down. I'm actually trying to find, there's one, I found one. If you could reach out to them, that would be a big help. But also, the thing is, a lot of these services that I end up calling, or that other people call for me, they don't end up calling back. They end up saying to that person, "Oh, this isn't what we do," and then I get a call back sometimes. But usually I don't. I don't get any sort of a call back. I just end up waiting for another day to be victimized again, and I'm too easy to victimize.
Yeah, I understand. I think what I'll do, if it's okay with you, is I will call Coast, and then I'll see what they have to say. I'll give you a call back to let you know what they say, and then I'm assuming that they will reach out to you or find out what you need, and they'll figure out a timeline, and then I will call you back to make sure that they follow up.
Yes, ma'am. Well, ma'am, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last week that I literally can't take care of myself. How do I write that down? COAAST?
Yes.
All right. And did you say your name was Kara or Tara?
Tara. Tara.
That's my little sister's name.
Oh.
She was one of the people whose lives was threatened. She's had to move 3 or 4 times over this.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Me too. All right, I guess I'll let you go so you can make that call. Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. All right. Try to stay safe as much as you can.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I will give you a call back as soon as I find something out.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope it's soon, ma'am. It's an unsafe situation here.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, I got to plug in my phone, so I'm going to hang up now. That way I don't end up not being able to get a call back.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye. don't fucking die, phone. %. Holy shit. You gotta know how much anxiety I got. I might fucking puke. Everybody sends me to somebody else. The Tillamook Autism Society does not exist. This chapter of the Oregon Autism Society does not exist. Also, I might have called Coast already. So I might have been wrong about what I told her. Not intentionally. The thing that sucks about being in a subservient environment is that people can and will bully you into doing what they want. And they will feel insulted if their environment is toxic and you say anything. If they have addictions, they expect that to be private. They don't care if it affects you. They're addicts. Do you like how I said that? Probably not. A lot of people want to tell me I shouldn't use the word junkies. Do you see how I treat the junkies out here? I'm pretty fucking good to them. Even when I want to scream at them, hey dude, get the fuck away from me. I'm still not going to let them starve. Not going to let them freeze. I'm not going to let people just beat them up and kill them for... Well, many of them are a pain in the ass, aren't they? I can agree with that. That's why I use the term junkie. I never wanted to be out here. I never chose to be out here. I'm in the process of doing all the runaround that I'm told to do to get the help that I need. And I'm trying to do it within the limits of my abilities. Nobody stops to consider what my abilities are. They don't actually stop to process the words that came out of my mouth. I'm sorry's don't help, but that lady was far more respectful and far more dignified than any of the other services or peoples that I've spoken to. They've been blatantly dismissive. And you got to hear out of Tara's own mouth from the Oregon Autism Society that the Autism Society here in Tillamook has been out of contact. I'll say that again. Miss Tara said outright, in her own words, that Tillamook Autism Society has been out of contact. They're not here. Where'd they go? Who is in charge? Where did that person go? Many of these numbers I've been sent to, I call them and they're closed. If she would understand that it's not just a local thing, it's not just local services. I need people to speak. I need people who understand autism, actually understand autism, to speak. And Autism Speaks doesn't speak for any of us. Autism Speaks only speaks for abusive parents and people who are so intolerant of us that they want to get rid of us. I don't need cured. I need you to stop abusing me for being different. You're not just abusive, you're dismissive as fuck, and that's why others are abusive. If people would have listened to me about my predators, Waylon Lolatai would have hurt a lot less people. Officer Waylon Lolatai would have assaulted a lot less people if they'd have done something when he assaulted me. Or if they'd have done something before he assaulted me when he was an officer in Denver. But you guys don't give a shit about that. There is no good in you. None. The thing is, in order to get any of the things that they want to push at me back, in order to get any of those things, I need them to understand why I don't have those things. Why I did have those things. Why they were taken away. It's a whole bunch of fucking crimes committed against me. Nobody fucking cares about to this day. They want to play it off like it doesn't fucking matter. No, abuse does matter. Showing how much of it there fucking is does fucking matter. Showing how many goddamn junkies I have to try to depend on because there are no goddamn advocacy services. Nobody fucking cares about us. I need autistic people to speak. Those who can. I need you pussies to stop being fucking cowards and speak up about your experiences, loud and fucking proud. These people know how horrible they were to me, and are, and how much damage it has caused. As a result, they are responsible, and they are to be held responsible. TFCC doesn't help. A lot of people tried to send me to TFCC after telling me the TFCC won't help. Well, then why are you sending me to TFCC? Because that's where they'll send you to. All right. TFCC didn't do their job. Instead, they assisted with an assault against me for trying to go to them as mandated reporters at the hospital. Nobody makes these calls with me because nobody cares. How can you help me stop the abuse if you're not even willing to listen to why I'm being abused? You're not willing to look at any fucking evidence, you're just gonna argue with me. What shitty people you all are. Meanwhile, it's hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. Nobody actually comes through. Even if I pay them, what are the chances of them coming through? Not very good. All these junkies want me to pay them first. Everybody wants me to pay them first, don't they? And if they don't want me to pay them first, they want to tell me to do something that's expensive and involves me having to spend money that I don't fucking have. None of these places stop to understand the financial burden and that I cannot take care of myself. There were lots of really good fucking ideas that have helped out lots of people. But with that help, those places were not going to help me. Without you understanding what my abilities are and are not, you're not going to help me. You're not going to try. You forced me to scream at the top of my lungs on Facebook and YouTube to try to get fucking heard. You forced me to take screenshots of our conversations and record our conversations. Why did I start recording all of these people? All of my so-called friends? Because I was sick of being lied to and being treated like I made it up. I was sick and fucking tired of people telling me to do things that were not fucking useful and pretending like they would help if I did those things, but then they made me do them by myself. And because the outcome that pretty white girls, for the most part, wanted to assume that I would get wasn't what happened, well, then I must be a liar. I'm not a white girl, stupid. I'm not neurotypical. That doesn't mean that I'm fucking crazy. It doesn't mean that I'm delusional. It doesn't mean that I'm schizophrenic. And the way that you people treat me, the way that you blow me off and say you can't do anything, you're all fucking wrong about that. Any one of you could fucking look at evidence and fucking speak up. Speak up in fucking court. Speak up with me to call these fucking places. My predators have plenty of fucking time. They work together. What do? You work together with them, and I'll tell you how. You waste my time. You don't coordinate with me to stop this shit. And I just have to believe whatever you fucking tell me. At least if she calls them and calls me back, we can hear what she has to say about it. My phone's almost dead. You know, here's the thing, is that I need emergency services. Do you not get that? I could have done what needed to be done if I'd have had help having a safe place to actually do what needed to be done. To fucking write that shit down and get that evidence collected and get it sent to who it needed to go to. But that didn't get to happen, did it? No, people were too busy telling me what to do and what to think and what to feel. They were too busy ordering me around like I'm a fucking retard. It is all of your fault. Your fault that Natalie is dead. It is your fault that I'm in this situation. It is your fault for taking advantage of me. for taking advantage of the American public. For fucking hiding like rats. When people do horrible shit like this, it is never the disabled person's fault. Never. It is never a victim's fault that they were harmed. Get that shit out of your fucking head. These people need to stop just shoving me to fucking help in Tillamook. Matter of fact, I need to call her back because of that. This shit has happened fucking statewide. I don't need services in Tillamook. I need them to fucking step up and get a hold of somebody that will fucking help. Help me to get to a safe fucking environment. Well, at least this phone is up 16% instead of 4%. This phone, however, is about to fucking die. Which is no bueno. The thing is, these places need to make the call with me. That's how you advocate for someone. When people try to talk over them like they're retarded, you have to fucking speak up. When they try to sell a false narrative over the top of the victim, you need to speak up. What are you going to speak up about if you weren't there? Lots of people wanted to do things for me instead of with me. And then they wanted to yell at me later, you just want everybody to do everything for you. No. Do not play that. I don't have any fucking resources because none of you fucking cared when I did have resources. You just fucking ignored it and allowed people to fucking nitpick and fucking steal all my goddamn resources. To fucking bully me because I was in a subservient position. And I still am. I have to ask predators for help, you stupid pieces of shit. Fuck this goddamn country. Poor people are cowards. They're the primary victims of the United States. They're also the ones who do the majority of the work. The ones who build your buildings. They're the ones who screen your fucking explosives at the airport. Y'all are pieces of shit. And the way that you treat us when we're in a state of crisis from abuse is fucking abhorrent. Well, I'm down to 13%.
Yeah, Morgan, this is Sarah.
Hello, this is Shawn Schwartz.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am, I'm severely overwhelmed. I need an advocate, somebody to call these places with me when crimes are committed. I need to be able to have a mandated reporter do their job. That's what I've needed this whole time. Mandated reporters to do their jobs. Instead, I'm getting run around in circles. All these government services are set up not to help the victims, and that needs to change.
I agree.
Well, ma'am, I have enough evidence to change it. See, the thing is, it's not that we don't have wonderfully written laws. We actually do have wonderful laws to protect us. The problem is that there's no teeth to those laws, so nobody follows them. For these mandated reporters, they're earning over $2,000 a month. So not doing their job as a mandated reporter in Oregon is only a $2,000 fine.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna investigate mandated reporters. I have to try to explain this to these people without an advocate who understands autism or understands my disabilities, both physical and otherwise. Obviously, I lose my subject a lot being next to the Highway 101 here. But I've gone to all the mandated reporters. I've been run out almost everywhere here because I'm different. The drug addicts, they come up and they bug me a lot. But I'm as nice to them as I can be, and I don't go trying to start fights with them. But I have a lot of people that are recorded here in this town and across Oregon harming me. It's not just Tillamook. Somebody from higher up needs to come and get me and my evidence. I mean, I can't be made to make these phone calls myself because I'm going to be blown off and everyone knows it.
that I actually just remembered as you said that is I am a mandated reporter myself because of my job. And if you give me details, I will report them. Like, I will report them right now.
Yes, ma'am, I can do that. I'm trying to make sure that my phone doesn't die. If it does, it'll probably take about 15 minutes to charge it back up. That's one of the issues that I have with all of my money being spent running to all these mandated reporters is that it eats up a lot of gas. Charging up my electronics eats up a lot of gas, and the places that I'm not allowed to go to now because of the abuse here eats up a lot of gas.
Right.
All right. I have to turn in a lot of different places like TFCC for me being in my vehicle. There's a few of the situations that happened that I can give you all the details of, or a lot of them about. But there's also a lot of them because of how complicated this is. I have literally thousands of audio recordings and thousands of video recordings to go through, and I have no place to do it where I'm in peace and quiet and have the ability to have my electronics charged.
Right.
One of the assaults against me here in Tillamook was at the Tillamook Hospital. I was sent there because they were supposed to be mandated reporters. There was a lady named Kathy from Tillamook Family Counseling Center. And when we're abused and we're trying to turn in abusers and go to mandated reporters, instead of them doing their jobs as mandated reporters, they always want to tell me, well, if you're not suicidal or homicidal, we can't do anything. If you're not trying to harm yourself or others, we can't do anything. And that's not how the law is written.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's not my understanding of my job either. If you tell me that, someone has abused you, I have to go to the authorities to make sure that they're held accountable.
yes, ma'am. There's also a lot of stuff that's on my YouTube channel that I don't know the times or dates, but I do have the evidence. It's just a matter of not having access because I'm stuck on the streets.
Right.
Anyway, on January 28th of this year, I was assaulted by Dr. Stephanides while trying to do the mandated reporter thing with, I can't remember if she said Kathy or Katie, but she just wanted me to say that I was suicidal or homicidal, and I was trying to explain to her I was trying to turn in abuse that was committed against me. And she got irate and she got angry and she raised her voice very loud in the hospital. And there was a lot of hospital staff there, and Dr. Stephanides came in and yelled at me and said, "That's it, you're done, you need to leave." And he started poking me and pushing me and shoving me. And the thing is, from the moment that I went in there, he was treating me like I was a junkie, like I was only there trying to get a fix. And I was explaining to them that I know the mandated reporter laws here, that they are a little bit different from Nebraska where everyone is a mandated reporter, but that I was at the hospital because I needed them to do their jobs as mandated reporters. They didn't get a hold of any of the people they were supposed to. They just sent me around to different services who wanted to set me up for therapy appointments over and over and over again. And they were setting the therapy appointments, even though they're supposed to turn it in right away. They were setting up the therapy appointments for 30 days away, and then either they wouldn't show up or they'd set me up for another one. And meanwhile, each of them sending me around having another service do the mandated reporter thing. Well, each and every one of these services refused to do that. Instead, they do the parts that get the money from my Medicare and Medicaid. So they're committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud. They're taking my insurance, and it shouldn't take my insurance for them to do their jobs as mandated reporters. So when it comes to the places I have to turn in that have done that, that's TFCC, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, um, TCCHC, and I'm trying to find what theirs is. It's Tillamook Community something health. There's also Northwest Senior and Disability Services. All of these places have done this. I've been to all of them repeatedly. I've also called Adult Protective Services, but I've had to do it by myself without any sort of advocacy, and because of how easy it is to talk over me, I never get anywhere. They keep sending me to the same places that I've already been to. One of the people from the Northwest Senior and Disability Services is a man named Peter Svensson. They were going to set me up for services, apparently. I talked to a lady for about 30 minutes after going there probably 7 or 8 times, them telling me it's not their job or blowing me off. There was a lady there. I do have it recorded. I just don't remember her name at the moment. And she was gonna come back on Thursday or Friday and see me of the next week. But the problem is I left my wallet in their office. I went back on Monday, and Peter Svensson and another lady basically came out and told me that they weren't gonna help me, that they don't do that. They're supposed to work with physically disabled, and the other place is supposed to work with developmentally disabled, apparently, but I'm both. So then each one tries to pawn me off on the other. Tillamook Family Counseling Center, nearly all of these agencies that I've explained that Tillamook Family Counseling Center broke the law. Multiple people there did that. Same thing with CARE, by not doing their jobs as mandated reporters and only setting me up for therapy appointments or sending me to other mandated reporters. It's because nobody wants to do the job of a mandated reporter. Many of them say it's because they don't want to lose their jobs. I do have it recorded, them telling me this too. So I mean, I have over half a dozen mental health workers here in Tillamook that I've recorded saying, obviously that it's corrupt here. Many of them quit their jobs at TFCC, including Dr. Danelle Boggs, because the laws weren't being followed and people were just being railroaded. So she quit her job at TFCC and started working at TCCHC, which is where I met her. I've had people that are calling me from restricted numbers, sometimes hundreds of them in a day. There are people who make fake accounts to get a hold of me since 2016. Natalie Bollinger, my friend who was killed in Colorado, her friends and family have been harassing me since 2016 when I left Virginia. Natalie knew that I was autistic, and she knew that I was stranded and alone there, and that all the people that I'd gone there to see, it wasn't just her. She knew that I wasn't able to get a hold of any of them. But the thing is, I don't have any way to defend myself against slander or people who want to physically harm me over slander. And the term mentally ill has always prevented me from being able to turn things in. I get talked over. I know this isn't coming out organized, but I'm next to traffic still. I don't have my electronics in a place where it's quiet, where I can look at the evidence and look it up. And there's a lot of it, and a lot of times people expect me to have the answer instantly, but when there's this many people, it's impossible. When people ask me who I've called and who I talked to down at the Health and Human Services Department here, as well as many other places, they have had, basically, as soon as they find out that I've been trying to turn stuff into the police and that the police are some of the mandated reporters I'm trying to turn in for threats and harassment by people like Officer Loftman, I believe, and I don't know how to spell his name at the moment. I tried to turn him in at the hospital. I tried to turn him into his superiors. The thing is that without somebody to go in with me and without a place to organize the evidence, I'm not able to do that. With these mandated reporters, they blew me off for 7 months before finally saying that they would do something. But then all they're doing is sending me around in the same circles they've sent me around for the last 7 months. It costs all of my disability money for me to do that. Also, the harassment by the local homeless population and a lot of drug addicts, and a lot of the things that the police have been telling those drug addicts, like Officer Loftman telling Ashley, God, what's her name? Um, Ashley Farnsworth. The officers were trying to deter people who were homeless here from helping me by telling them that I killed a girl in Colorado, which is not the truth. They were trying to, well, that's the thing, is that cops all over the place have told people that I'm schizophrenic and delusional and I'm on drugs, and I haven't been on drugs. And the thing is that when they take me to a hospital and tell the hospital that I'm schizophrenic, it takes 6 months to diagnose schizophrenia, and autism is not schizophrenia. So they're intentionally misleading the public. They do make this stuff public, and that's why I make things public. I show the truth where they just slander me over and over again. Dr. Danelle Boggs works with TCCHC and was formerly with TFCC, and I've got a lot of these people's stuff written down, but I live in a pig pen. My car is a pigsty. My physical abilities prevent me from being able to throw my trash away a lot of times. For me to carry my stuff into the library is near impossible. All these places, all they'll push is for housing, knowing that housing is a long prospect and a long way off. Also, they don't acknowledge issues like I'm cut off from housing nationwide because I had to break windows in Nebraska at my low-income housing there because none of the mandated reporters would do their jobs. A lot of people, they have this idea of autism that we're retarded, and they run with that. And some people who understand autism, they don't really understand autism. They know how to talk over us and how to make us feel so small that we're afraid of speaking anymore, and we'll just do what they want, even if it doesn't work. Now, almost all of the officers on the police force have taken part in the bullying and also in assisting people who are predatory towards me and getting away. And as a result of this, I've taken a lot of abuse from a lot of the businesses here and a lot of harassment for things that other people did to me that were never investigated. Like a situation with a woman named Molly 7 months ago. There's a lot of people who are witnesses to it. One of them, his name is Dallas Palmer, and his name is on my YouTube channel as well as his phone number because he's a witness, and we weren't able to coordinate to get the cops to do their jobs. They outright refused to talk to any of the witnesses with the situations with Molly that lasted over a month and a half. There was also the situations with a guy from Hood River who stalked me here. I have recordings with him no less than 7 times between there and here. I also have recordings with some of his victims. I also have recordings with hundreds of people that are explaining that they're afraid to go to the police. I've got over 30 people here in Tillamook alone who speak about how afraid they are to go to the police, how corrupt it is. There's at least 60 people who talk about the KKK here, and the thing is, I'm very Jewish looking. Anyway, I've been to the hospital twice to turn in the crimes against me to those mandated reporters. On one of those occasions, they had Officer Loftman was the one who showed up, and by law, they were supposed to have him leave as soon as they realized that he was one of the officers I was trying to turn in. The other thing is they keep sending me to do these things by myself, which puts me in a vulnerable state because not only am I afraid, which increases my chances of winking and blinking because I also have Tourette's, a comorbid condition. I get treated like I'm on drugs. I get talked down to, or they tone bully me, or they'll lie to me and tell me to go to another office. And as soon as I get to that other office tells me that it's not their job. I spent an entire day or half a day at the courthouse from one office in the courthouse to another, being shipped around the DA's office to the problem is that I don't have a victim's advocate to help me with any of this either. It's all P. And those therapists are all mandated reporters. Dana Boggs, Esther Brandine, or Bradine, and several others whose names that I don't remember. That's why I record it. But I don't have access to those recordings because of the conditions that I'm living in. I'm living in these conditions because none of these mandated reporters did their jobs for the last 7 years. Before I was in Tillamook, I was in the Dalles, Oregon. Before I was in the Dalles, Oregon, I was in Hood River, Oregon. There's also a video, it's called Jamie Again, on my YouTube channel. And in the first 30 seconds, there's an at-risk woman who is stalked and followed over 100 feet before the man who is following her punches her in the back of the head. I went to a lot of mandated reporters about that, including the church that it happened on, that property, as well as going to a woman named Courtney. I don't remember what the company that she works for is called, but there's another worker there who works under her. His name is Marcus Ibarra, and that's in the Dalles, Oregon. I've recorded at-risk and disabled adults from one end of Oregon to the other being abused and neglected by these services, and these services taking advantage of these people for their Medicare and Medicaid money, including Mid-Plains Center for Living. The problem is that when we're going to these people as mandated reporters, and the only things they're willing to do are the things that make them money, they're blatantly and openly breaking the law and putting us at risk and putting our lives unnecessarily at risk and forcing us to go to people who are committing illegal activities or go to places that are dangerous for us to go. I was assaulted on one of the church properties here, and I don't know the name of the man who assaulted me, but I do know that there was two church staff there who didn't do anything. That was at the First Christian Church. There was also multiple threats against my life and against others by a man named Robert Farnsworth, and that's the brother of a woman who ripped me off. People do that often out here. They say they'll help me if I pay them, and I do pay them, and then they leave as soon as they have money. And I try to tell them that I'll pay them when the job's done, but then they want to see the money, so I at least let them see it. But then, they don't show up because they don't have the money, or they have to have something first before they can get started, so I'll go get them a drink or something like that, and then they disappear. And the thing is, I am street smart and I am street savvy. I'm just physically disabled and mentally in crisis. And for me to be mentally in crisis, people don't understand how different that is and how easy I am to take advantage of during that, which all of the police have done. Now, I don't know all the times and dates of all these things, and that's the problem with being stuck like this. I had housing. I was victimized out of it. The problem with Natalie Bollinger being killed, I don't know if you looked her name up, but if you do, you'll get to see that her name is it's in a lot of different languages. You also get to see that I speak up really loud, I scream and I shout and I curse, and I save it for the internet. I also record crimes that are committed around me, and I try to keep my community safe. I followed the stuff that McGruff says. I followed the stuff that the law says, but nobody else did. And that's the problem, is that now I have all this evidence and I still have no advocacy to help turn it in. The assault by Stephanides, I know for a fact that was from the phone calls that we had. It was January 28th of this year. They didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters, and the problem is that I had to go in alone. There was a guy named Mike who went in with me. I had a meltdown at the Denny's restaurant because people were just blowing me off when I'm trying to tell them, this is important stuff. It's not storytelling time. It's not trade stories time. I need help. But I finally had a meltdown over it because they weren't understanding the cops and these services aren't going to do their jobs. They're just going to do the Medicare and Medicaid fraud or send me around in circles as they have for 7 months. The fact that I'm being abused like this and that it is so blatant and that I have so many recordings of it that show I'm telling the truth and that I do have communication issues and that like right now I'm having problems keeping everything straight and together, not because I'm some crazy person, but because I can't concentrate over traffic. So my disabilities are being exploited. That includes my physical inability to take care of myself, as well as my inability to separate myself from being stuck in public. I have to make my phone calls from public, which makes all of them inappropriate, especially when you have to talk about people being killed and murdered. Dallas Palmer isn't the only witness. He's just the only one who isn't likely to slander me because he's pissed off. I was also taken advantage of by a lady named Vicky Rain. The thing is that all of these people that are civilians that I'm turning in, I'm not turning them in because they didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters, because they weren't mandated reporters. I'm turning those situations in because many of them did messed up things because of their own disabilities and their own trauma, and I should have never had to go to those people for help. All these services that I went to as mandated reporters were supposed to do so. They also know that without a place to process the electronic evidence, that I literally can't do it. They all know that there's safety issues and risks with me being stuck out here in public and having to do it in public. And while they don't take those situations seriously, they eventually come to fruition exactly how I said they would. That's because I have real world experience and first world experience, and I'm not the retard that they try to paint me out to be. Now, instead of helping me and doing their jobs as mandated reporters, they send me around in circles. When I explain to them that I know the laws, then all of a sudden they try to do the same thing that my local predators want to do. All of these services want to suggest that I move somewhere else. At least they suggest it more polite than my other predators. But the point is that what they're doing is, again, separating me, socially isolating me, and forcing me to start over again in another jurisdiction where I'm going to be told that I can't do anything because I'm in the wrong jurisdiction. Meanwhile, I know the laws because I've looked them up. I just need them to be followed. They won't be followed as long as people can refuse to do their jobs because they know they can just call me mentally ill and it's their word versus mine. And they have money and time to process that information and to process the evidence however they see fit. TCCHC, after I exposed them for not doing their jobs as mandated reporters, for putting me at risk, and for committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud, same as TFCC and CARE as well. Well, they were supposed to be helping me to advocate. They didn't. What they did is they blew me off, made it take as long as possible. That's why I've been here for 7 months with no help, just here in Tillamook. I haven't been able to turn in child abuse or abuse against other protected adults because I'm in a constant state of panic stuck in public. These people understand my disabilities well enough to exploit them, which means that they understand them well enough to help me. They understand the laws well enough to try to exploit it because of the mentally ill thing, but they also are mandated reporters, which means they know the law well enough to know that when a at-risk or disabled adult is coming to them about crimes committed against them, they're supposed to turn it in immediately. For me, I have the added issue of being autistic, and that means that people can talk over me. And the fact that the police and all the services here have worked together to do this means that it's unsafe to go to the police here about it, especially with the situation with Loftman doing this repeatedly. It's unsafe for me to go to the courthouse because of them running me around in circles as well. Any of these places that I go to, I can't go to alone, and the lawyer isn't going to touch this without a friend or family member present, and I don't have one.
I understand. This must be very, very difficult for you.
It is, and I'm sorry you're having to deal with my communication issues in public.
No, I absolutely understand.
Also, this has led to a lot of financial abuse. People taking advantage of me financially. Not just the police, not just these services, not just the homeless, even my friends and family. My sister ripped me off for over $1,800 when she came to help me. I've got a lot of evidence of people threatening to kill me and my friends and family, and that has happened nationwide. It's not just on the internet, it's also in real life. And I have evidence of that. I just, again, have no ability to process it because of my disabilities, which TFCC, TCCHC have